Hello. My friend on the other side of the camera said, why don't you talk about dying and about preparing for death? I'll do that, and we'll do several recordings on preparing for death. But let's do some preliminary thinking. You can be sure of two things in life, according to Benjamin Franklin. The first is taxes, and the second is death. But for some reason, we don't allow ourselves to think about our own death. If I want to talk to a mate about it, he might think that's a bit morbid, isn't it? So actually, in our culture, we tend to think that death is not a topic, which is really interesting because it will happen to all of us. That's me, and it's you. So imagine if you somehow found out and believed that you had 24 hours left to live. What would you do? My guess is that you'd panic, that you'd run around as I would, and that you'd probably not do very much, but you'd feel loads of panic. Panic is energy. Now, if you and I suddenly found out that we had 3 days left to live, this is already different because we have time to channel that energy. What would you do if you had 3 days left to live? You'd probably think, why do I have all this stuff? Gosh, I've got 3 days left to live. I think Peter would like that, Mary would like that, Paul would like that, and you'd begin to give away your stuff to people who you think would appreciate it. You probably wouldn't miss that stuff too much, so look around the room that you're in. What have you got that other people would really enjoy or value that you probably wouldn't miss that much? The second thing that you might want to do is think about your legacy. You might want to give other stuff to certain people, like a friend of mine has given me all her writings in case she dies, and I've agreed that I will in some way, shape or form publish them for her. And that would be part of her legacy. So folks, what would you like your legacy to be? And what could you begin to do today towards that? And the third thing that you might like to do is think, oh my God, I've got 3 days left. What am I going to regret on my deathbed? Think about that. Every regret is a wish, because you say to yourself, I wish I had. Why didn't I? Don't blame yourself. Take the regret, turn it into a wish, and act on it. Do it now. JDI, just do it. So that's regrets. And maybe connected with the regret, but possibly just life. Who would you say what to? How would you take your leave of certain people? Maybe there's a relationship that you'd like to somehow repair. Say, I'm sorry. Maybe there's a relationship that you value so much, but you've never actually said it. And you want to be in touch with that person today. Be in touch with that person and say, you know what? I love you. I am going to die. It's been so good to have you in my life. So you see, when we think about preparing for death, it actually gives us the opportunity to live life more fully and to do the things that possibly we think, oh yeah, I'll do it later. Let me tell you folks, later never comes. But then, the 3 days pass, You've channeled your energy. You've begun to complete certain things. You find that you've got a peace of heart and a peace of mind that actually you didn't have otherwise. You come to the end and you have to some degree some peace of mind. What then if you get a reprieve? What then if they say, oh no, we were wrong? Or no, you've got another week. And assuming that you still have all your capabilities, what would be different after this reprieve? My guess is that you would walk out of the room that you're in and you would feel alive. You would feel an aliveness in you that you don't normally feel. You would notice things that you don't normally notice. And you'd feel grateful simply because you be. So here's a final thought. How can you become more alive? Rather than having one foot in the grave already, or never actually allowing yourself to be in the present fully, noticing, feeling, being grateful for being. How can you make the most of today? Think about it.